said there are two kids in a house,
Hmm.
and they might be teenagers,
Hmm.
and their parents' oxygen level has gone down to 50 and 60,
Hmm.
and they don't know what to do. They do not have any help.
Yo guys, namaskaram. So, Debu Ki Dastak is a platform where we talk on mental health and a lot of other sensitive issues, right? So basically, the entire aim of this channel is to build a community around sensitive issues and make people feel comfortable about themselves. So basically, if you're new here, consider subscribing. Our mission is to empower you with ideas to live smartly and joyfully. The world is full of suffering, but let us increase our competence to deal with things joyfully. And just a tip, so all these are basically conversations, so I might suggest that you should watch these conversations at 1.5x. You can increase the playback speed through the button in the settings. Cheers and enjoy watching. On one level, so I know that you took some therapy. Like, how are your experiences around that? Like, how was the whole therapy space in Chandigarh? Because I've had some guests on this podcast earlier who had quite the opposite experiences, not a very positive experience per se. But I would also like to hear it from you. Like, how are your experiences around therapy? And जब आप पहली बार जा भी रहे थे, आपको कैसा लग रहा था? Was there a ease, like a dis-ease? Like, मतलब थोड़ा सा अच्छा नहीं लग रहा था, like थोड़ा fear था. Like, how was that entire experience for you when you were going for therapy?
Um, I did it during pandemic, so
Hmm.
I could not, kind of physically go somewhere and
Achha.
meet the therapist.
Hmm. Hmm.
I just took a virtual consultation,
Hmm.
and I started out well, but I would be in that set of people who did not really like the
Hmm.
therapy.
Hmm.
So I think it was good for the first two sessions, but I'm not saying that the therapist was not good or
Hmm.
something, but it's
Hmm.
just that we did not connect on a level or in a way that a therapist and the other person should. So it was
Hmm.
not too well, but I definitely learned a lot of things in my first two sessions only
Hmm.
about the things that I never know were okay, and yeah, all of that. So I think it was helpful in some ways, but I did not feel like continuing.
Samjha. Okay. Like, what were those specific things that you thought were not okay? That would be very interesting to hear. Like, of course, one is, of course, being vulnerable, which you shared. But are there any other things which you felt earlier that are not okay, which you currently feel that, okay, now these are okay things?
Yeah, I think, yeah, and like I spoke about being vulnerable, and
Haji.
then I had certain perceptions about life and situations, like how we deal with friendships
Hmm.
and what expectations do we keep from close relationships and how we should not do that,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It's not right to expect a lot from your relationships, be it family, be it friends or anything, because that's not right. You don't speak to them before setting those expectations, and it's just not right. I mean, I don't know if I can talk about it a lot, but there are,
Hmm.
there are
Hmm.
a lot of things. But yeah.
Acha. Okay. 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 Understood. Yeah, not an issue. I think that's perfectly fine. So during the COVID time, I think you also kind of like being a highly empathetic person, which I seen you started this plasma donors thing, right? In Chandigarh specifically, which got some press coverage and also like how was that experience for you starting up? Where did that inspiration came from? Like, could you talk a
So
little bit more about it?
yeah, uh, I think it is most amazing, and yeah, just the most amazing project that I've done with my sister, and I'm
Hmm.
very very proud of it. It was my sister who came up with this idea that
Hmm.
I think there's a need. It was during wave two,
Hmm.
and she had just recovered from COVID, and she
Hmm.
comes up to me and says, "Hey, I see your page for
Hmm.
Delhi people. They are doing some great work
Hmm.
arranging plasma and stuff. That time, plasma was acceptable as a treatment for COVID. Later, they kind of took it down. But she came up to me and I said, see, I work night shifts. I will we be able to do it? And she was like, I think I'm totally up for it. And she was the one who initiated it. I woke up and she said, hey, I've already created a page. Let's see how it goes. And
Hmm.
I think from the very next day, we were so indulged in it, and so many people had reached out to us for help. And I think the next 2 months, we just found ourselves doing it. We were just doing our
Hmm.
job, living the corporate life, and then
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
Because the times were so difficult, we did not have a chance to look at anything else. And it it was an experience. It took a toll on our mental health as well in many ways. But I think the satisfaction of helping people at the end of the day was just
Hmm.
something different.
Hmm. Got it. Yep. So, like, coming to the mental health, like, just to more on it. So, like, when you were dealing with so much, let's say, stress during like managing two jobs, roughly speaking, right? So, were there any specific
Yeah.
models that you had in your mind which helped you to pass through that stress or anxiety, or like, how were you able to, let's say, kind of manage that in your own personal life?
I think the best part was we were together, we were in
Hmm.
the same city, in the same house, and we were around family.
Hmm.
So I remember one of these days when I was on a, so I was also managing Delhi, Lucknow,
Hmm.
all those areas which were around Chandigarh, right?
Hmm.
So I used to get
Hmm.
calls from somewhere. Just one day on Instagram, I saw a post which said there are two kids in a house,
Hmm.
and they might be teenagers,
Hmm.
and their parents' oxygen level has gone down to 50 and 60,
Hmm.
and they don't know what to do. They do not have any help. But there was a number given over there where we could contact them.
Hmm.
I was just so scared, Debashish, but I still, took the phone and I called that number. And a little girl picks up the call and says, hello. And I was like, hey, do you need help? And she was like, मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. मम्मी पापा की हालत बहुत खराब है, but I don't know what to do. And I asked her, is anyone around you who can, help you get an ambulance or something?
Hmm.
She said there is someone in their relatives, so but they are saying कि नहीं ले जाना है. Don't take them to the hospital. We don't know what happened. And
Hmm.
I was just like, no, that's not right. So all I could do was I had some sources in Delhi. I had already talked to a car rental service who were kind of, for a temporary basis doing an ambulance service or something, and someone in Gurgaon who was a vendor who was supplying oxygen cans as and when they got it. I called them up and I said, see, I need a few cans on an urgent basis. And they said, we just have two available with us. So I paid
Hmm.
for those two. I asked that guy to get the renter, they get the car and everything, and drop it to their place. Now
Hmm.
they dropped it to their place. I called the kid again that did you receive the oxygen? And she never picked the call and
Hmm.
she never got back to me. And I was so stressed for the next 2, 3 days. I did not know what to do. But I think my mother always used to come to us and, have us sisters sit down and tell us that you don't have to take everything personally. You're already doing a great job. You just have to sit, relax, and do whatever you can, do whatever capacity you can. And it's okay if sometimes things don't work out. This is the best you've been doing, and just be happy that, you have this opportunity to do it. So I think then we just used to have a good laugh about something. My mother used to remind us of something when my sister, when she used to see me upset about something, we used to have a talk about something. So I think it's about having the right kind of people around you, surrounding yourself with the right kind of people who just, work on making your situations better, who are not going to pull you down. My mother could have said that just, stop doing it. Why are you guys doing it? Don't
Hmm.
do it. That
Hmm.
might have added to my stress more that, I'm not getting the support or whatever.
Hmm.
But no, she was always appreciative. She was very supportive.
Hmm.
So I think being around family was something that helped me a lot.
Definitely. And I think जब आप ऐसे experiences feel करते हो, like just seeing such experiences, these are bone rattling experiences, right? अगर खुद के घर में हो रहा है ऐसी चीजें, you start seeing
Right,
the reality, like the Indian reality, from what it actually is instead of what is being shown to us, right? Through
right.
different media sources. But yeah, I don't want to get into that as well. But yeah, totally, like I had one of these guests earlier in my podcast who was talking about the role of specific NGOs, right? and how they are kind of
Mm.
like keeping up the balance of our country, like ये जो एक dark reality है, how exactly are they helping? So recently I was just watching some videos on animal cruelty, right? And एक वो होता है दिल पसीज जाता है, right? The level of cruelty we Indians, roughly speaking, like we humans generally inflict on animals who cannot speak. I think such initiatives and like such risk-taking individuals or youth should come more often in our country. Like people like you who are just standing up, let's say, in the times of needs and just helping out people, right? Because that also requires a different set of courage.